Rolling.
Okay, ready? So, hi world, my name is Bunny Judah, and I'm here with my dad, known as Jabani, the runaway slave. And today I'm here to just deep delve and ask my dad some questions, so not only I can get to know him a bit more, but the viewers watching can get to know my dad and know his generation more. Dad, do you have anything to say?
Yes, thank you, Bunny, to give me this opportunity and for trying to getting to know your dad more, and in doing so, establishing what your generation that is fatherless, that they can actually appreciate the fact that they father, whether they're here or not here, they might get the strength and the courage from what you're doing here now to actually have a discourse with the dad. So I'm happy to be doing this with you. And I hope at some stage I'll be doing this with the rest of my children. So hi world, this is BJ, Bunny Judah. I think she's my seventh daughter, but the sixth one, how it goes, to born in this country.
So, Dad, my first question to you is, at what period or circumstance growing up did you realise you was different from your other siblings?
Well, to answer that question, I actually didn't grow up with my siblings. I am the only child from my father, so I'm like and from what my dad explained to me, my mother give me to him when I was 9 months old.
So, at what age did you know you had siblings?
Okay, let me see now. I think I start to interact with my siblings, I think 1961, 62, somewhere around there, at the birth of my youngest brother. That's when I come into contact with my siblings in terms of my second oldest brother and my baby sister, Jem. And I remember at the birth of my baby brother, Bobby, things was so, it's funny, things was so, for me, so, I don't know how to explain it. But I remember when I used to go look for my mother in a place called Bennett Land, which was like a cold ground kind of market like. My mother had a shop in that market ground. That's out 2 miles side of a place they call Butter, because Butter factory, Butter main factory, at the time was in Jamaica. Butter shoes, the shoes that is Butter. The main factory was in Jamaica then. And what I remember about my siblings, I remember my little brother as a baby, my mother used to ask me to feed him. But as a baby, he would be like, at the time they had some different shape feeding buckle. And my mother used to make the Milo. And when I'm feeding him, it used to be fun feeding him, because what happened, he would look away, get distracted. And by the time he's looking over there, I'm drinking half of the feed. So that was fun. So what used to happen, every minute he used to get hungry, because every time I'm hungry, I drink where I'm feeding. So that was like with me and Bobby. And I think that little brother, he grows up where I would like to say that I'm the favorite in all my family to everybody. I don't know if that's a fact, but all my brothers and sisters, they treat me special. I don't know if I'm a special child, but they are. I think it's because I was not grown in the family. So everybody used to treat me kind of special.
You see how you say everyone treated you special?
Yeah.
Out of all your siblings, who did you like bond with the most? Even though they all treated you special.
Right. Well, there's two things. Of all my siblings, my brother Errol was my bigger brother. So as a bigger brother, I remember when I used to run behind him,
Yeah.
right? And I remember he used to act like he's the man of the family. So he used to beat me, he used to do what big brother do to little brother. He used to try to keep me on track, right? But so I looked up to Errol. Up until today, I looked up to him as my bigger brother. He just that, the big man, hold your ground. But I still have that respect for him.
Yeah.
Because I always remember my lane, so to speak, that I'm a little boy for him. I've never forget that I used to be my bigger brother. But Jem, me and Jem have a different kind of relationship. Me and Jem follow me. I think I'm around 2 to 3 years older than Jem. So Jem follow me. Me and Jem, I remember playing house with Jem. So in the yard, there was, I don't remember the girl name, but our brother named Beatty. I think me and Beatty were the same age. And his sister and Jem were the same age. But we all, 4 of us used to play house. Like Dally House.
Yeah.
We used to play that. So I've always have that brother kind of protective thing for Jem. So Errol have it for me and I have it for Jem.
Yeah. What was the most life-changing situation you've been in?
Okay. I've been into, as the badass, I've been into a whole lot of combat exchange. Meaning with the police, with other gang member, and mission. But for me, so just to give you a broader picture, these exchange that I've been into in the Badlands, it was like part and parcel of the lifestyle that I choose. But the most life-changing experience that I have is spending 9 years in solitary confinement.
9 years.
Yeah, 9 years in some of New York top prison. I spent 9 years in solitary. At one stage, they have me so bad. New York State have me so bad that they actually build a prison to contain people like myself. My cell actually costs over $250,000. My cell. So you have to understand now what kind of cell them have me. My cell, they interact with me. They have me so bad that they only interact with me through the light bulb. Yeah.
How did you keep your sanity?
That's a good question. I keep my sanity because of who I am. I was able to keep my sanity through books. I had around 6 duffel bags of books. I mean, I personally have read nearly close to 1,000,000 books. You see that here. Because 9 years in solitary, for a given day, I would read, it's nothing for me to read 10 newspaper, 6 periodicals. Periodicals mean I would be reading the Jet, the Ebony, the Beat, different magazine, but it's all cultural. I would be reading fiction books. My favorite author is Robert Lubbock, Wilbur Smith, Stephen King. I would be studying law. I had a Metro Bender, a correspondence course with Metro Bender. I had one of them with Northwest University, which is a big law firm. I had them they would supply me with case law because actually I was studying to be a paralegal. At one stage I was studying to become a priest. So while I was studying to become a priest, I did a lot of you have to study theology. So to become a priest, you have to study theology, meaning that you have to study the origin of all religion. And that's when I discovered that religion is not real, but man-made.
Wait, so Dad, why did they put you in solitary confinement?
Okay, I'm the badass. So the reason why I was placed in solitary, it's not that I wasn't placed in solitary like in solitary. You will have to understand now how that came about. That came about when I was arrested or captured. When I got captured, it was my own people, i.e. the Spangler gang, that identify me to the police. It was the shower posse or the Tivoli Garden man them, where I'm from. The Dons, they were at the police station telling the police they are afraid of me. It was the Rima man. So to the system, I was just a young boy. I think I was around, when I got arrested, I was around 23 years old. So when the authorities saw that because the authority, you have to understand back then, that the authority had fear Jamaican. They still do today. But the fear that they had for Jamaica and Jamaican gangsters, because we put the fear in everything in America. We took everything down. We took the mafia down. We took all functioning gang at the time. We took them down. Yeah? My team. So what happened then is that when I got arrested, remember now, the powers that be of us as the most deadly gang at the time. And for the rest of the community, Jamaican community, gangland, telling the police, we're all scared of this one. Do you understand what they did to me? Yeah. So they used me as a sacrifice. Because what they had alleged that I have done to get arrested. So from that, the system decided to hold me as my classification was AFO, VFO, CMC. AFO mean armed felony offender. VFO mean violent felony offender. CMC mean central monitor case, meaning that whenever I move in the system, I must always be triple coverage, full restraining. So when my cell, they talk to me through the light bulb, and when my cell open, say for example, in a place like Attica, when my cell open, they shout, "Secure the corridor everywhere! Jabani's on the move!" And all you hear is just the whole jail locking down. Blam, 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 blam. Cell, everybody have a lockdown when them taking up the cell. So for 9 years, people only hear. So you would be in a jail and you only hear that Bunny is here. But nobody don't see me. I'm just in the jail. So you could be my son, my daughter, whatever, my friend. You just hear. But we still did devise means and method to communicate because, like I said, we run wherever we are. We run that. So they couldn't deprive me of what coming to me.
Next question. What family member has been your greatest coach in life?
I would say my dad is everything to me in terms of my dad wasn't a man of many words, but because it was me and my dad from 9 months old, I think my dad had the most influence on me.
What's the greatest thing he taught you then?
I don't think it's what my dad taught me that stand out. I tell you what my experience, when I think about it, I've always think about this throughout my life, why I becomes how I becomes, yeah? When I was around, I was born 60, 54, 6, 7. When I was around 8 years old, yeah? Living out a place called Crescent Road, yeah? A 3 mile, 2 mile, yeah. I was playing one time house again with my mates, and there was a bad man named Rassimo, and I was playing with his sister. I don't recall what I did to his sister, but his sister went and complained to her big brother. And he came round to my yard and was talking to my dad. And then he asked my dad to call me. And when I come out for him to talk to me, I was 8 years old, and he hold me by my right hand. And he was a bigger boy for me. And he put me across his back with holding by one hand and put me across his back and just flip me over and back and drop me on my back in front of my father. And I remember lying down on my back, the top of my back. I remember lying down crying, looking up at him and looking up at my father crying too. Can you imagine that? I'm crying and my father is crying. And I think from that day, I told myself, never again. Because my father couldn't defend me. So that was the day that I think I started to think like, I gotta be strong for me. And him.
But I don't get it. Why was your dad crying?
You don't get it.
Like, the guy
All
flipped
right,
your
all
whole.
right. Let me explain this to you. You remember a couple of weeks ago you told me that that boy get fresh with you? If I was not able to go out there and confront that boy, how would you feel?
Upset.
What? So that's how I felt. You get it?
Now, I understand how you felt, but why was your dad crying?
Can you understand somebody come right now and call me out and then telling me about you? And I say, Bonnie, come here. And the person looking in your face in front of me.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And I can't do nothing about it because this person, this was a bad man. This man, Rassimo, was a bad man. Yeah? And a big, strong, bad man. He just drop him on back in front of my father. My father just stand up and cry, me I cry. You understand that?
Yeah.
You want me to tell you something about my father? In the Badlands, my father and a man had something one day. Yeah? And the man never know my father have a son. Never know. And the man told my father in his mouth. You have a man like that, he's just an aggressive man. And the man took my father in his mouth. But the man never know my father have a son. So I came to look for my father because that's how things set. And when I came to see my father, I see my father mouth, shut up. I said, Daddy want you. Like in the father no want tell me. Can no want me get in trouble. So I might mumble like him fall down. And I said, no, man, you can't fall down and lick him out. I might tell me say him fall down. But while I might tell me say him fall down, the landlord for the yard say, don't tell him no lie. A peace and love thumping in your mouth. I said, wait a little while. Just say, yeah, peace and love thump my father in his mouth. Them time there, in the Badlands, we and Pink Lane man at war. So, I said, all right, that was Sunday evening. So I go up on the hill, the park. I go up on the hill, and I have two brethren, Jamurf and Ag Winston. And I tell them, say, you know, say, a big man who on a Pink Lane took my father in his mouth. Come and go look for him. Yeah? Them time we and Pink Lane at war. And the three we go on a Pink Lane. My two brethren them stick up the whole lane. I'm going to the yard. Them time we wear all brothers' shoes. This is some shoes with steel toe. Yeah? And I'm going to the yard. The man live upstairs. So I go upstairs and hold the man. I drop my gun. I start butt him up while my friend them down at the middle of Pink Lane stick up a lane. And I lift up the man and throw the man over the upstairs railing down in a Pink Lane. Then I go up on the railing and jump off at the railing, jump off on him. And the three away, kick him to frazzle. Just kick him unconscious. We never shoot him, we just kick him up. And then we go away. We didn't hear a breeze blow about it. And from that day, nobody ever look on my father again. Nobody. So that's how life is in the Badland. If everybody in the Badland is connected, everybody downtown is connected, is you have to know how you live and how you interact with people. Just like, say for example, down there, they now know that you're connected. So you will not find anybody getting fresh with you. On West Green Road, everybody know you all. And know you are. That's how it is. Because you're part. You might function like you're not a part, but you're a part. That's a community. You was born there. Nobody can make you leave there. You have to understand you, and you have to have that sense of belonging around there. Even when I'm gone, that's where you was born. In Tottenham, that's where he was born. The center was born on Broadwater Farm. She belongs there. There's no fear for her to go over there. You know, so that's how it is.
So that as a father, how are you different from your dad?
Well, I don't think I'm different from my dad. I don't. I tell you why I don't think I'm different from my dad. I think it's how I was raised, why I fight to stay in all of your life. Because remember, you know, most children, their mom run their dad out their life. Most children. When you check the history of homeless fathers, it's always the mom that run the father away. In my case, my mom didn't run my father away because they wasn't together. My mom went and leave me on my dad doorstep. My dad tell him come home one day and find me on the doorstep. And from that day until I leave Jamaica, I was always a daddy boy. My dad have never deprived me of anything. He have never. I remember when I get really rude. I remember one day I went and looked for my dad one Friday. And I asked my dad for money. And my dad told me he didn't have any money to give me. And that was the last day I asked my dad for anything. That was the last day. From that day, I decided to do me. My dad and my mom, they have never taken a penny from me. They have never. I remember my bank account that I had at one stage while I was in captive. I had make my bank account to be a giant bank account. And while I was in jail, the kind of man I was throughout the 15 years, in the Badlands, whatever my team did while I was down, I was getting share and cut still while I was in jail. And I was able to send money from jail to my account in Jamaica. Because this is how it was. So for example, I'm inside and I'm talking to my friend outside and they're telling me we're going on our works. After the works complete, they would like, Jabi, we have X amount for you now. Or they would tell me they get X amount of things. We can give you £10 a weed. And I would tell them, drop it off over Egon or drop it over somewhere, and that person would sell it and then say, Jabi, we have X amount of money for you, what I want to do with it. So my life never stopped function while I'm in solitary, because we did devise way to maintain communication. Don't ask me how, but we did.
Okay. Dad, what is the best story your mum or dad has ever told you?
My mom. My mom, she was a different kind of woman. I think my mom was, for lack of a better word, petrify me.
Is it?
Yeah, she was. She was petrifying me because, remember, she gave me to my dad when I was 9 months old, yeah? And then when I started to interact with her when I was around 7, 8. But then my sister, dad, had decided that he's gonna move from where she was living and back to the country. So I didn't see my mom for quite some time until my sister dad passed away. And I remember my mom used to come to town, and when she would come and visit my father, and I would be in the yard playing, and I would see her, but there would be no interaction. Meaning that she would have just come to see my father. And my father would say, Bunny, come here. Your mom is here. And I would like hear it with no response. So there was no interaction with her. There was nothing. So there was no interaction. I remember one time I was in jail, yeah? At the Central Police Station. I don't know if you ever watch the clippings and when they were trying to get Jim Brown extradited from Jamaica, and he was coming out of the court, going back to the cells. So that's how we used to transport from the court to the cells. And I remember when we used to transport like that, certain street would be like crowded because family would come trying to get to, to see the son or the daughter. And I remember one day I was making that cross from the court to the cells, and my mother and my aunt, but my aunt didn't know me. And there was crowd of people blocked the road. And I heard somebody say, Bunny. I heard a female voice say, Bunny. So when I look around at the crowd, I saw my mother, but it was she and my auntie, and she was pointing out, like showing her mom, her auntie, say, there we go, see him there? I'm going to look and say, move your blood clot, you're in farmer. But just tell her, move your pint out, man, you're in farmer. That's all, right? Looking back at it today, that was very embarrassing, but that's how, because she didn't come to see me, she was just, to me, why were you pointing me out? I don't even know the woman. She was like, called me in she never called me she never called me. My head never take it like she come there to see me. She come there to point me out to somebody that I didn't know. So that's how I respond to her. So me and my mom, I can't sit here and tell you that me and my mom ever have any kind of conversation about being good or being bad or anything. We never have, we never have that type of conversation or that type of relationship. Still love my mom, because my mom, but we didn't have that kind of relationship. So I'm not going to lie to you.
Okay. If you could go back to one day in your childhood, what day would you go back to?
If I could go back to the days of my childhood,
Not one specific day.
yeah, I would go back to the days of the waterfront.
Why?
To me, that's what my you're talking about childhood. That was my childhood days when it was me and all my friends as young boys, and we were just open to take on the world. We were just lying there on the water and the pier, all of us in bar chunk, and just talking and naming each other, because we name each other. The guy that named me us, yeah, he's in this country. Yeah, I talk to him sometime.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, his name is Funny Goose.
Oh.
Yeah, the Funny Goose named me. We name each other. We names, you hear them talk about Starkey, General Starkey. We name Starkey Starkey. We didn't name Sack because Sack is the general. We didn't name Sack because Sack got the name because he had stole the church collection. As a young boy, he stole the church collection, and that is known as sacrilege. When you steal from the church, they call it sacrilege. So we short it and call him Sack. But to me, that set of boys, up until today, I still have love for everybody that was at that time. I still have love. We had be good and bad and everything, but I still have love for them because to me, when I think about my family,
Yeah.
that's my family. That's my family. Not to say that Jem and Errol and the blood, that's a different. But those boys on the wharf, yeah, that's my family.
Dad, do you have any fears?
Fears? No. I can't live with fear. I don't know what fear is. I don't. The reason why I don't know fear, no, I'm a lonely man today. I'm very lonely. Why I'm lonely? 3/4 of my friends didn't live to see 21. Can you imagine that? And today, I am 67 years old. Can you see how much year I live after my friend them?
Yeah.
So, to me now, if I just tell you just now that the love that I have is for them people, sometimes when I hear a certain song, I becomes depressed. Certain music, I can only, you see, like when I'm relaxed, I'll play certain Rasta music and I'll play certain lovers music and certain icon artists. When I play these music, it brings back, like if I start to play certain music in this house right now, in my mind, the whole house full of dead man. Yeah, the whole house full of dead man. Because my memory goes back, yeah, to when all of these, when the music came out, the joy and the happiness that I used to have then, and the people that I used to have this joy with. So even when I was in solitary, music, I said, was one of the things that keep me going. My cell was decorated where the ceiling, we had moon and stars in the ceiling. So when I turn off my light, the reflectors in my cell, it's like the real sky I'm seeing. That's how my cell was. And when I put on my headphone, because because like I said, everything for me was top of the line. Everything that I have was top of the line. So I had the best of everything in terms of what I was allowed to have. So with my tape deck, I had the best. With my headphone, I had a quadraphonic headphone. So I hear things quadraphonically. Yeah. And then most of my tapes back then was made special through the sound, wherever the dance is in Jamaica. That's the kind of man I was. The selector would be making tapes to come to me in my cell. So when I listen to these, I still have some of these tapes up until today. When I listen to the music then, my cell sometimes becomes like I'm not alone. The cell becomes overcrowded, but everybody's dead. Can you envision what I'm telling about? I can play music right now and this whole place full with man and they are all laughing and happy. So sometimes that depresses me. Sometimes that makes me lonely. So I have no fear. Because sometimes I wonder, why am I still here? What is my purpose? Why, if there's a God, why is he still keeping me around? So I have no fear.
So I'm going to switch up the questions a bit.
It's all right.
Get into like the love stuff.
Okay.
So, Dad, have you ever been in love?
Many times.
How many times roughly do you think you've been in love?
Let me just tell you something. My virgin Big Youth have a song said, have you ever been in love? Have you ever have a lonesome feeling? Forget how someone to break your heart. I forget who sing that song, yeah? But when Big Youth DJ him say many times. See? And that's a reality. That's our reality. You see, for being in love, you love people, so you fall in love and you fall out of love. You have to be very careful. So you can love somebody now, yeah? And somebody can love you now, but love of different. Some people don't love you unconditionally. So that's the problem. If you love somebody unconditionally, then there's a different kind of love than if you love somebody under condition. So I have loved many times because I love unconditionally.
Have you ever been in a situation where you loved someone unconditionally, but they loved you conditionally? Like,
Yeah,
wasn't it
that's
reciprocated?
many times. That's why I have so many children.
So then, how do you get over that? Like,
You can't get over it. Let me tell you can't get over it. For example, my first child mother, for lacking a better word, yeah? My first son. My first son, I think he was born the year I leave Jamaica. Right. And my first son, there's a lot of history attached to me. My first son died from sickle cell. My first son. My first son was one of the first experiment baby with sickle cell. Meaning that when they discovered that he had sickle cell, it was like a novel to the medical system in Jamaica. So they didn't know to treat it. And we were told to monitor it visually in terms of whenever you see him start to go ash gray, whenever his eyes start to go pale, we need to rush with him to the Bustamante Hospital for blood transfusion. Shortly thereafter, I leave Jamaica. Shortly thereafter, I sent for my first baby mother. But the way we were in love with each other. There was no love for the baby. I think about that the other day. There was no love for the baby. Because let me tell you something. Why I said there was no love for the baby. Here it is I'm sending for her. That baby was on the age back then. If she had decided to bring that baby, we wouldn't have to pay nothing. Because the baby could have traveled at that time for free. The baby would not be a problem because the baby would be coming for medical reason. Because Jamaica wasn't able to monitor or treat sickle cell at the time. Yeah? So here it is. I leave my baby mother in Jamaica and I come to England. When I come to England, I did what I have to do in terms of getting married, sorting myself out. And actually, I fall in love with my first wife. I made a disclosure recently about that. And you know, my first baby mother had a go at me about how could you leave me in Jamaica and come to England and get married and fall in love. And I asked her, what love have to do with it? See? Because what me and her had at the time was more than love. Me and her was ride or die. Because she was gangster, I'm gangster. So as gangster, we do what we have to do to stay alive. We do what we have to do to survive. Love no, and me and her against the world. That's how my mind is set. But she didn't have it, or she didn't understand that concept. She want me for her by herself. It can't work. Man like me cannot be tamed. Cannot be pet, cannot be tamed. If you love me, you have to free me. You can't contain me. So I've loved many women.
So, Dad, how did you meet Mum?
Oh, I met your mom. I met your mom one evening when I was, at the time when I met your mom, yeah? I was working at Scotch House. You would know what Scotch House is, yeah? Today, Scotch House is what they call Burberry. So I was working at Scotch House in Knightsbridge. So I came home from work that evening and I went round to Bullyback. But I was in my work uniform. So you would not even understand now what Scotch House work uniform look like. Scotch House work uniform, because of where I'm working, My tie alone cost £300. That's my tie. My blazer, my work blazer,
Yeah.
£900. I think it's upstairs. Yeah. Because my blazer at the time is proper Burberry blazer with the Burberry. There's, if you know clothes, then when you look at it, you will see the gold button, Burberry. But it's just a different. You just look proper smart. The way I look, I've always have that kind of look when I get smart. I look like a MI-15 type of officer. That's how I look. So I walk into you see that off license opposite where all across that,
Oh, yeah.
that off license where George worked. I went in there to buy something and saw your mom in there. And she was coming from work too. And that's where I met her.
When you met Mum, did you fall in love with Mum?
When I met your mom, I'm going to tell you honestly. When I met your mom, there was a trend going on. There's a team of us in this country. But that team of us, we all came from Jamaica and we went to America. So we were a team in America on the road. And we did what we did. And we all went to prison in America. So we were all in prison together. Then we all got released. And we all ended up back in this country. Now, part of the team, there were 4 brothers. Yeah? And 3 of the brothers, they were into the game still. I wasn't in the game, I was working. But they were into the game still. And all 3 of them decided that they made enough money in this country and they were going to go home to Jamaica. So all of them went to Jamaica. They pack up and tell me bye. And they gone to Jamaica. But they didn't last in Jamaica for a year. Yeah? Because they all them boys, all of us go up outside of Jamaica. I have lived longer outside of Jamaica than I lived. I left Jamaica when I was 21 years old. And I'm 67 now, so do the maths. I've lived longer out Jamaica than in Jamaica. So them boys too, like I said, we all grew up and so they went home and within a year they all come back with 3 big batty girl. Say them wife. So when I go look for them, we see every one of them have, young, nice Jamaican girl. So when I meet your mom, it was a joy. The joy for me was, you all went to Jamaica and come back with a girl. I didn't have to go. I find one fresh from Jamaica right here. So that was, to me, your mom was to bring me that joy because I used to bring her around them, just to show that you all didn't leave me by the wayside because here I am. And your mom was very disciplined back then. I think she was going through a culture shock when I met her. And I think part of what happened between me and her is when she started grow out of that culture shock. Because life between me and her was very, very, to me, was very happy and very, I think we were going somewhere.
So what do you wish you done better in the relationship with Mum?
No, it wasn't for me to do anything better with your mom. I think that's where she made the error. I got 3 daughters older than your mom. See? So your mom was like my daughter. This is how I used to treat her, like my daughter. So, what your mom might not tell you, three-quarter what she knows in this country, it was me who was teaching her. But what I find is that, and you have to be very careful of this, what I find is that I was so happy with the relationship that the thing, your mom start to have friends that her age group. And for me, I've been there, done that, not wearing a t-shirt. So all I wanted was to be daddy to you all. That's all I wanted. Because, let me put it a different way. If Selma mother had gave me a child when I come back, I would have never leave her. You understand? But Selma mother had pack up on me in terms of she just wanted me to be daddy for Selma. And to me, after the 15 year had took impact on me because everything that I had believed in terms of outside of myself, not my friends, all my relationship with women had collapsed because one, I didn't have a release date. So nobody, and as a fallen soldier, you couldn't expect no woman to wait on you. Selma mother did wait for me. Yeah? She did wait for me. But the problem is that when I come home to her, all I wanted was a baby. Somebody innocent to just share my love with now. Not a woman. Yeah? So when I meet your brother, Dwight, when I meet his mother, she was a nice lady too. But she want me for herself. And I wasn't prepared to give myself to nobody. I was prepared to give myself to my children. But you will never understand it because I was left with a broken heart. I was. I was left with a broken heart by Marlon mother. Yes, she left me hanging. She did. And not only that she left me hanging, I think, to be honest, Marlon mother and your mother play me the same way. Yeah, both of them play me the same way. How they play me, because life is a game, you know. And how they play me, Marlon mother becomes the Don. Because I am the Don. In the Badlands here, I am the Don. When I got taken down, she becomes the Don. Marlon mother at one stage, she was running the Badlands. She messed up. And in her messed up, she took church for it. See? And when I came back on the scene, I didn't mess up. I'm a stand-up guy, so I didn't mess up. So she expect me was to fall and come to church with her. Nah, my life just start. When they release me, my life just start. So my life just start where I have rebuilt myself 3 times. See? So you all was my new life. See? So I wasn't going to walk away, left you all. And I didn't.
So that what's the hardest thing about raising children?
I think the hardest thing in raising children in this country, because I don't think I have a problem with the three from Jamaica, because they were brought up under a different regime, a different have nothing, so they understand the have nothing status, and they are always appreciative of what they have today. With you all, it's different. You don't know no sufferation. You might have things that you find difficult, but I'm talking in the sense Jamaica kind of sufferation. You don't know nothing about that. See? So the thing then when you had things say hardship today is nothing compared to some Jamaica sufferation. Because then again things and time have changed. Because Jamaica have changed where I think if I wasn't here, because I didn't know I didn't know sufferation like the average person. I didn't. Because of how and who I am. Because I've always been taking things. I get things. Loads of money. Get loads of money. I mean, I have a friend, a rich friend. Respect goes out to Danny Dadds. When I was released and I went to Jamaica and Danny Dadds see me, yeah? Danny Dad said to me, Badass, all a man like you, what you do with your money? So he asked me, and he's a millionaire, and he asked me, Badass, what you do with your money? And when he asked me that, I just fool because he asked me from the angle that him know that's all I do, is take money. But you see, them have a saying that easy come, easy go. So I've never planned to do things. I don't put the value that other people put on money. And because of that, I don't have undue hardship. If I think about it, it happened. And I have always tried, if you notice, I've never tell you no yet. If you ask for something, I always tell you, give me some time. Because I'm going to work out how I'm going to make it happen. You know, so the hardest thing for raising children, I find you guys don't listen.
Don't listen.
Yeah, you all don't, you guys don't listen. And you guys, it's very challenging. Something that I never do with my parents. See? And I think me and you, out of every one of my children, I think me and you have the best relationship. Because I've always tell you, be yourself. Focus on yourself. Be independent. 3 sisters you from the same mother. Always approach me for you. Me and you have never had any issue or problem that we can't work out. I mean, and with that, all I expect from you all, I keep telling you all, and if you all can keep to that simple principle, we'll be good. And that is, you don't need to challenge me. You don't need to challenge the parents. A parent, you have to know your lane. Yeah? I'm not trying to govern you. But if I tell you A, B, C, then I expect you to hear that. Whether you comprehend is something else. Whether you follow me is something else. But if I tell you A and you're going to challenge me, A is not A, then come on now. My mind is not prepared to deal with that. Because I've never dealt with my mom and my dad. If my dad tell me something, I just like, okay, all right. And keep on moving. If my mom tell me something, okay, all right, keep on moving. I'm not going to stand there challenge my mom asking her. You get me? And I think that's what you guys do with me sometimes, where it come across now. Because I think this country have misillude you to believe that you and your parents is equal. Yeah? And it make you think that you have rights. You ain't got no rights when you're talking to me. You ain't got no, I'm your dad. You ain't got no rights. I know what your right is. Because your right's gonna be what I give to you. You understand that?
Yeah.
You can't demand right from your parents. You get me? I mean, the government have its standard, it set its laws and so forth. I'm gonna function in that law. Right? I'm not gonna abuse you. But you got parents, children now that just demands and talk to them parents anyhow and act like I'm the boy here. I'm not the boy here. You're the child here. And you have to just understand where your lane is at, and you'll be all right. As long as you all stay in your lane, I'm happy.
Dad, how does it make you feel that you don't have a good relationship with all your children?
It makes me feel real, real sad and really sad because I tell you why I'm sad. I got friends. Like I said to you before, 3/4 of my friends never lived to see 21, and they die leave children. Yeah? I got friends again that some of my friends have 30 children, 35 children, 15 different baby mother. And all them children show them nothing but love. You understand? So I can't understand when you all take things for granted. That you all don't show me the appreciation some of the time. Even if I do things and you appreciate it, I don't see it or feel it. It makes sense? Think about it.
Wait, so what would you want us to do to show that we appreciate it? Like,
Well,
how would you?
it's not something for you to do. It's not something for you to do. Because I could ask you the same thing. What should I do to make you know that I love you? Do you know that?
Yeah, I know you love me.
You know that?
Yeah.
So if you know that, then we are right. Because if you know that, then I'm not questioning your love. Because, you can't help but love that. I've never done anything to any of you all for you not to love me. It's just sometimes maybe I becomes jealous because of the relationship that you have with your mom. Maybe. Maybe vice versa. Maybe she becomes jealous too of the relationship that you have with me. You ever think about that?
Yeah, sometimes.
Eh? So it's all about the mind now. But I'm not trying to fight for any of your love. I love my grandchildren, love my great-grandchildren. I love Riley Ann. Yet I have no interaction with Riley Ann. And I haven't done Riley Ann anything. See? But this is how spiteful children can be. If you have a child, would you make your child not interact with me?
No.
See? So sometimes it hurt me that the things that are, you know what it is to have a grandparents in this country? Do you know what it is to be doing this right now with your dad? You know how much children in this country would have liked to be doing this with their dad right now? Some of them have them dad. And them dad is not that even open. Yeah? For a basic conversation. Touch me. Come on. Come on. Now big up for that, man.
Dad, what's one thing you dislike about my generation?
Your generation spend too much time watching the television. Your generation spend too much time with the phone in your hand. Your generation is media driven. Hence we are doing this now. We are doing this so we can reach out to your generation. That's why we're doing this. You understand? We are doing this this is the language of your generation. So obviously when you done this and you send this to your mates, they're gonna want to sit down and just learn now about your dad. And in doing so, it prompts them now to start trying to interact with their dad. Because let me tell you something. So Jacinta is a special baby, you know. Yeah, Jacinta is a special baby. Even though she is the way she is, she's a special baby. I tell you what's special about her. For the first 5 years, the school didn't know that Jacinta had a mother. When Jacinta start nursery, and when me start carry Jacinta go on nursery, ask your mother. I was the only man doing that at the time at the school. I did that so much that all the other mothers start complaining to them because the interaction between your mother and them, when they see your mom, it let other mothers start to interact with their husband, their children, father, like all up. You need for sharing this. Today, if you pass by that school, you will see the school change now, so it's a lot more like foreigners in the school now, like because it's Catholic, a lot of Brazilian and Polish and all these people, so they have a different culture. But back in the days, when I usually take the center, it was me alone in the play field, waiting for school to. So, getting back to your question with your generation, I think your generation should do a lot more independent study. Yeah? Meaning that you can't even fight the system today because you don't know nothing outside of what the system is telling you. Yeah? And I think you should pay more attention to some of my books so you can know more about your culture and black history, because you need to know the history so you can know how to function within this society. Because if you don't, you're going to end up where after a while you might end up like Diane Hubbard. You will end up like David Lammy. David Lammy and Diane Abbott, they have no connection to us. They don't. So you have to think like someday you can be a politician. You never know what you're going to be. You never know yet. Yeah? And you can't be a politician representing black people, but you ain't got no connection to us. You get me? If you're going to be a politician, You have to think like, hold up, I was born in South Tottenham. Tottenham is my ground. I'm here to represent Tottenham people, i.e. Caribbean people. Never think. Don't let them trick you with this multicultural thing. Don't let them trick you with it. This country, simple. I'm telling you this for free. It is us against them. Never make that come out of your head. Don't care how them sugarcoat it and polish it. Yeah? You will never be a part of them. They will utilize you against us. Let me say? They will utilize you to get you to work for them against us, and then at some stage, them spit you out. See, like the things I'm doing now, they can't do me nothing. They just have to just know that. They just have to pray for me to die. That's all they're gonna do. They can't do me nothing. They can't do me nothing. So there's no fear in me to say what I'm saying now because I know my lane.
Yeah. So that's the wrap of the interview.
Yeah.
What's one advice or any advice you'd give me?
I just give it to you just now.
Any other advice you'd give me?
The advice that you need to know, Bunny, you need to know your lane. And you need to maintain your lane. Don't care how high you reach in the society. Never forget us and them. Never make them trick you for you to lose that sight. You will never be a part of them. Simple. In a nutshell. That don't mean that you're not supposed to function and stand up for your right, because they will respect you. But they're going to be always knowing that you're not a part of them.
Yeah.
Simple. Never lose sight of that, and you'll be all right.
Yeah. Well, that's the end of the interview. Dad, I'd like to thank you for giving me this opportunity. I feel like throughout this interview, I got to know you, like proper know you, than how I knew you before.
And I'm happy. I'm happy that I'm able to do this with you because my other 3 girls, I have no problem about them knowing me because they are from Buzzwalk. So they know that side of it. They leave Buzzwalk with that knowledge. But at least now you know what you know. And with this knowledge, nobody can tell you about your dad and who your dad was. And you must always feel free to do this again.
Yeah.
So thank you. And world, this is BJ, Bonnie Judah. She's not a slave. Her name is Carnegie. She's not a slave. She's not a slave because I have run away from the plantation. So she's a free. She don't need to do nothing. She's a free being. Thank you.
Thanks, Dad.
You're welcome.
That's it.
Yeah, you can trim my dinner now for me, please.